The more desires you have, the more thoughts in the mind you have, the more suffering you go through, the more you just want more from the world all the time. And you want, and you want, and you want, and you want. And it's fine with wanting if it makes you peaceful. But most of the time, when you really want something like that, you go through so many problems just to get it. And you sometimes don't even get it in the end. How many relationships I've seen broken up because of those words, I want this, I want that. And sometimes people just can't give it to you. So either you accept that or you love it. But if you keep saying, I want, you get angrier, angrier, angrier. The other person gets weaker, 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 angrier, 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 and you self-destruct, both of you. Both of you. Not that easy to live this life, is it? You really have to think about your desires, and then you have to weigh them. And that's what yoga's chitta, vritti, nirodha is all about. You learn when these desires come up, and they will, we're human, and they have to. You know, so long as we have a mind, it will come up. What do? The restraint of the modifications of the right. You take that thought and you look at it and you ask yourself, thank you, no, it's okay, great. And you ask yourself, you restrain the thought, do I really need it? Will it disturb my peace? Will it take my joy from me? If you answer yes, 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 let it go. If the answer is no, you can very well afford it. It won't disturb your peace. And you deserve it. And it doesn't cause any harm to anyone, and some benefit to you, then you do it. Simple, isn't it? Simple? Okay. Children, are you all right?
It resonates as simple.
Would you like to sit outside? Would it be easier? Sorry, the children are busy there. Would you like to sit outside? No, not at all. If you take them through there, and just, if you remember, children, that we are still in here, so maybe you can keep your voices down as you would in here. Is that all right? Hello? Mom, will you explain? Yes, perfect.
Sorry, Natalie, mine are out there.
Yeah,
I thought
perfect.
it'd go over the far side.
Perfect.
Way.
That's fine. It's fine. That's what the garden is for. It's wonderful for the children to run around and play, but keep on that side and no shouting. That's it. Perfect. Sorry to disturb everyone. I do apologize. Today is questions and answers. So we'll start with this one. What does to the wise man everything is painful mean? Please explain this thoroughly. Okay, I can borrow your sutra book. I didn't bring a book in today, so and I will read the quote that I think she is referring to. Thank you, because it is really. Oh look, came right out. Page 100. Here it says, to one of discrimination. What does discrimination mean to you? To one of discrimination. You're able to decipher information, and you're able to look at information and make a decision, right? You're able to see and discriminate. You're able to discriminate, that's a door, for example, simply, right? To one of discrimination, everything is painful indeed. Is that what you're asking? Perfect. Due to its consequences. The anxiety and fear over losing what is gained. The resulting impressions left in the mind to create renewed cravings. And the constant conflict amongst the three gunas which control the mind. Okay, I'll put it in simple language, alright? It says to a person who is wise, Everything is painful. This is simply what Buddha says in his Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth, does anybody know it? There is suffering. There is suffering. There is suffering. Full stop. Second noble truth, there is a reason for it. And I'm not sure about the third and fourth, but it basically means the same thing. I won't quote it exactly. You can find out the reason for it while you're alive in this life, and you can understand it and be comfortable with it. Basically, that's the Four Noble Truths. Not in the exact words, but that's basically what it means. Here Sri Patanjali is telling us, once you've gone through life, and once you watch life and look at life, and once you do all this study, and you start to think, you start to think, everything ultimately brings pain. Everything. Even if you have a very good life, one of you will die. Correct or incorrect? One person will leave. Even if you have a very good life, and you're very happy, pain will come. One person will leave. When you get something that you've been wanting for a long time, and you get it, you get so happy you get it, what happens? Once you get it, you'll start to worry about losing it. Correct. You'll worry about losing it. You wish for something, you get it, you worry about it. I tell the story of this student of mine who always wanted this beautiful car. I mean, this is not a joke, this is really a beautiful car. Been studying yoga for many, many, many years. And what happens? She gets her wish, she gets this beautiful car. So, she's all of a sudden, when she gets this beautiful car, she becomes, this is my brand new car, it's worth so much, I look after it, it's all about the car. And one day, of course, the car's going to be banged and hit by someone, right or wrong. It's going to happen, or it's going to get a scratch. So what happens, she actually, that day that it happened, it was in Gibraltar, remember? She walks in the yoga center, oh Nalanie, my new car, you don't believe what happened to it, and so angry and so frustrated, how dare this person? I go, where's the yoga? And she looked at me and she said, oh my God, I got attached to my car. I said, yeah. I said, it's fine. You love your car. Good. You should look after your new car. But look what it's done to your peace. It's made you so angry. It's made you swear like you haven't sworn for years. And there, all your understanding and all your peace gone. With this car. I said, I've been meaning to talk to you because all your conversation is about the car the last few months, And you see how easily you fall back into the old ways. So here, Sri Patanjali is telling us, it's a beautiful question. When you really understand life, you start to understand that everything does create pain. So does that mean we're going to get depressed and say, oh my God, all life is full of suffering? Sri Patanjali tells us, logically, this is what happens. And our beloved master says, now that you know that everything in life, even when you get it, even if you get what you want, once you get it, you're going to fear losing it, you're going to fear something's going to happen to it. So, now that you know that, enjoy it all and be attached to nothing. Hard to do. So there's a practice. I remember it happened to me when I was living in Gibraltar at that time, and for years, my husband and I worked for an apartment, but anyway, it's a long story, I'm not going to go into that. And finally, after 23 years, I got my own home. My father called me up and he said, darling, I really think I will leave you behind a home. I want you to buy a nice apartment in your name, and that will be your security. Because, and he said, I really want you to get something really nice. So I found a penthouse and I bought it. And after 23 years of waiting for my own home, I finally got it. Not only did I get it, my father gave me enough money to do the whole thing up. So it was a beautiful 4-bedroom penthouse, one of the nicest, Portland. Well, you've seen it. I had a beautiful prayer room, I had everything. And you know, for years I'd been practicing yoga and no problem. The first night I moved into that home, do you know, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and said, and what if there is a fire? I'm right on the top floor, I'm on the 10th floor. And what if there is a fire? And what if I lose this? And I saw myself getting up saying that, and I started laughing. And I remembered this one sutra. And I go, it's a life. I enjoy this house. And we accept that I can lose it anytime. Or either I stay miserable, worried every single day. So I made a conscious decision. And the very next morning, I went around the house. And I went, it's not mine, nothing is mine. No. When I go, it'll belong to somebody else. Is it really mine? No. It's all on loan. And I did this. I really practiced this every day, till, 10 years later, I had to let go of the house because we had problems with the business. Couldn't keep it, and I got a really good price for it. No problem. I told myself, we'll sell my house. No big deal. We'll make 3 times the money and we'll be free. No headaches. There was no attachment. I surprised myself. But it was really 0 attachment. And I was so happy to sell it. And when I went, I go, good God. And everyone goes, oh, Nalanie, but you had a beautiful prayer room. Easy come, easy go. Who sings that, Bruno Mars? Easy
So it
come.
means you can transcend it.
Of course you can.
So then, for the wise,
you know that life brings on pain.
because the story is that you made 3 times as much, but what if you hadn't?
Same thing. I would have let
Same.
it go. I would
So
have
it
let it
means
go.
you can transcend
Yes,
it.
you can transcend it. Even if I made, I just covered, because you wouldn't sell something unless you had to. You're not going to lose on it. I mean, if you have to lose on it and you don't need to pay any mortgage or anything, or I had nothing on it, so probably I wouldn't even have minded if I had lost on it, because I didn't owe anything on it. Do you see? But if I owe somebody something, then I have to be careful that I repay that. But I had no loan on it. It was free money. So whatever, even if I got half the price, I would have been happy.
So I guess the question is like the comparison is with the person with the car who was just practicing. You in the beginning, you were just practicing, you were attached to it. But then you transcend the attachment. But the question is, even in the wise, it's still painful.
No, here's it. To a man of discrimination, all things are painful. You learn that life does bring pain. I still know that life is going to bring me pain. You think I'm pain-free? No. But the way I deal with pain is in a detached manner. That's the difference. It doesn't mean pain goes away. It just means that you look upon it in a detached way. You embrace it.
Spectator.
Yeah, you look as a
You don't make
spectator.
it your own.
Correct. You don't make it of your own. You don't sit with it, cry over it for hours and days and say,
That's fun as well. No, I'm teasing.
So it's good to get some of it out of the system.
Correct.
Cry a little bit, but don't dwell on it.
yes, don't dwell on it. It's gone. And all it says is that. Then you have to ask yourself, in life, then when you see through the wise, when you know everything is painful, what is the next step that will happen? When the desires come up in your mind, I want this, I want that, go, I don't want to even go there. Do you see? I don't even want to go there.
But I also think then it doesn't matter if it comes or it doesn't come.
Yeah, it
Because
doesn't.
if it comes, fine. If it doesn't come, it's okay. If it goes, it's okay. So I think when you know that everything is going to be painful, the desires become less and less and less and less, and the contentment
Comes, because when the desires become less, you become more content.
with what there is.
And like the Gita says, the yogi is the person who looks upon a nugget of gold and a piece of clay. It's the same. The same.
Comes out of the same ground as well.
Truthfully, yes, that's exactly what you see. You see the truth behind everything. You see the law of entropy in everything. You won't worry about your body. if you got a few wrinkles today, you won't worry about running and getting Botox and this and that, because you know this is, no matter what you do, one day it's going to get old. So you can do as much as you want on that. It's not going to change who you are inside. So what will happen? You won't spend any time on that. You won't waste money on that. You know? Instead you will see, oh, that cash that I would use for that, what can I do with it to make life better? You might go out and learn, you might take a course, you might share it with others, you might take your family on holiday. Do you know, it will be such a different kind of life because there is no attachment. And that's when you really are wise, all of us, you know, when you become wise, you will see pain is there. Like Buddha says, there is suffering. When you will the pain to go away, can please go away pain, please go away pain, it is not going to go away. It's traumatic. It's like you said, you learn to embrace it. And like she said, after a while, pleasure comes, great. Pain comes, great. You know life is a swing. You know, you start to understand this pendulum going up and down, and you're right at the center. You're right at this, you stay centered. And this is why we keep studying, and this is why we meditate, and this is why we practice, as Sri Patanjali says, when you practice for a long time, without a break, and all your heart, you get strong, but it doesn't happen overnight. I'd like to use Esther's case to you today. We were just speaking about it. Esther, during the course, discovered she had some kind of skin cancer. She didn't say anything, she had all the studying to do, etc. She didn't allow it to play on her mind. She went to the dermatologist, had the option, you know, just 2 days before did you know, 2 days before the exam? 2 days before.
The day before.
She still got, the day before, sorry. She still got the patches on, and they found that it was cancerous, had to remove it, and she had another one on her leg as well, right? Am I correct? And
Testing.
they're testing that as well. And she came in the day before the exam, and she said to me, she said, you know, I've had this done. I said, are you okay? Yeah, Nalanie, you know, with the exams and the studying of Sri Patanjali, had to do it. I went in, had it done, not going to give it much energy, not going to give it much worry. Now, somebody else signed up, and really you can see she didn't. You all saw her go through her graduation, and you saw her go through her exam with a cool mind. And she got 98% on top of that for her exam. 98%. Now, normally a person, from my experience and 20 years of doing counseling, the moment they're told they got any kind of cancer, the mind goes da 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 da. They don't sleep, they don't rest. And I was just telling her about a case I had 3 months ago, exactly the same as hers. And the mind was like, every day, oh, I've got cancer, I've got cancer. I said, but it's very mild. You're very lucky, it's of the skin, and the doctors can do something about it. But because she was on the National Health Scheme, she had to wait 6 weeks because it was, stage 1, and they felt they could wait 6 weeks before the specialist came out to Gibraltar to use nitrogen or whatever to burn the skin cancer. They said it wasn't urgent, but the word cancer was there in her mind, and she was traumatized. And of course, I see her one day, and she was better for that week. But then the next week, back to the same problem again. And this is where Sri Patanjali tells us very clearly as well. In order to gain that energy, you have to do it for a long time, without a break, and with all your heart. You have to constantly work on yourself. So I told her that once this saga was over, to come back and to take the Sri Patanjali course on a Wednesday in Gibraltar. Just so that she can learn the science for herself. And then you practice. And this was the wonderful thing that Esther found herself. She said, I'm so, I can't believe that I've done this. And, I'm really so fine with it. And I said, you really are so fine with it. She attended to it, went to the doctor, did the operation, didn't want to change her exam, didn't want to make any excuses for her not doing it. And there she's sitting today. So And you see, that's what happened. It's not that you don't have pain. She was saying it wasn't very nice to have it done, you know, to watch the doctor because she had local anesthetic and take off this piece of whatever it is from her skin. But she accepted it. Do you see, this is what it means here. So when you're wise, you know. The people who are not so wise, unfortunately, they suffer. They don't know. They haven't really understood life and the journey of life. That there is pain and there is joy. They haven't understood that it's all passing. Many people you will meet in your life, you know, don't talk about death. Don't talk about this. As if they're going to live forever. They really believe it. Oh, don't talk to me about death. Why? Why don't talk to me about death? It's the one thing that is certain in your life. But there's so much taboo over the word death. There's so much fear over the word death, and yet it's something that each and every one of us knows that is going to happen. Another thing that people are always frightened of, change. Changing their lifestyle, changing this, changing that. How many people during this crisis have lost money? They've lost themselves, they've lost their mind. How many people have taken a gun and shot themselves? How many people have taken to Valiums and pills to hide their, because there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to go. Because they think they are the money. They're not, they're much more than that. And they fall apart. When you realize you're much more than that, and there's a strength that comes from you, there's something that moves you forward, helps you to go through the difficult time. And this is all Sri Patanjali is telling us. And this is why I say knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. You know, Mary, may I tell you a story a few weeks ago about somebody shouting at you? You see, you even forgotten. You know?
Oh, if you want to.
You know, another story, she walks in, and so Mary comes in and she goes, you know, I'm really happy with the science. I'm so happy that she's filled my garden with beautiful plants. All those new plants that you've seen, thank you, Mary. So she said, you know, neighbor came, you know, there was winds, and it was a problem, tree fell, and neighbors get angry, and they got angry with her, and she goes, okay, she just listened, she said, anticipated the situation. She said, normally in the past there would have been an argument and, you know, it's not her fault, there's winds, that, you know, what can you do when it's rain? You can't sort anything out when it's raining and it's pouring, can you? You have to wait till everything stops before you sort out your tree falling down or whatever. But she said, she just was so relaxed with it all. Now don't you think that's nice?
Because of you.
No, your work. You've been coming here even though you haven't taken the course. Every Tuesday, and if you notice she has a notepad, she may not have taken the exam, but she's writing notes all the time. I don't know if you notice. Writing notes and things that she needs to learn, she puts it down, and then she goes home, reads it, and she gets books. I don't know how many books she's read in the last few months, to find out for herself what is backing these words, you know, whether they're truthful or not, and then on top of that, practicing it in our own life on a daily basis. So then the result comes, pain is next one is, but you've got to read together, pain that has not yet come is avoidable. There's your positive, there's the positive. Pain that is not yet come is avoidable. So now that you're wise, all of you in this room, we know that pain happens in life. So let's say 3 days down the road, something really, let's say my car gets really hit and bad or whatever, I can't use it, or you know, the battery goes off like it did in Gibraltar last week. No problem, so my friend was leaving late as well, so we got a battery and whatever. You know, no big deal, nothing's ever a big deal, so I can't even use a good example. But, so you know something, so you know something is going to come in 3 days' time. Maybe you hear of a death, right? So you hear the death of a person, and then you go, you understand it's a painful thing, but you just accept it. We all die. my time will come too. You know, accept it, you pray for the person, you think about the person, you send them light, and you start to say, wow, they've left this temporary world, they're flying. This is temporary anyway. Oh, I hope the family has their peace. So you start doing things to help the family around, and you start doing things, and you don't take the pain personally. Whereas in the past, maybe a family member of mine was passed away, everybody takes it very personally. Now, one family member dies, I feel I can be really strong for the rest of the family because I really know that they're better off. Do you know? You really know that they're okay. You really know with all your heart and soul. And when you love somebody so much, and you really know that they, in a place where the pain is not constant, you'll be happy for them. You will be. You really feel in your heart they're okay. Why is everybody crying? But you also know the way of the world is everybody's knowledge is at a different place. So you don't make fun of it, and you don't act superior. You just use your compassion, your heart, and their pain becomes your pain. And you may cry with them, but you will cry with strength, in compassion, and in love, and not in this, oh, poor you syndrome, you know, which makes them feel even worse and even more terrible. You cry with them and say, you know what, you'll get strong after this, or better not to say anything, just hold their hand and know you're with them. That's even better, if they come from a different place. Just don't try to say too much. But understand that everybody, every human soul is in a different point in this ladder towards knowledge. And always be very aware not to be the smart one and know it all. That's consideration. You may know it all, but don't say it if they're not ready. If they're ready and they ask for your help, then yes, tell them, you know, if you practice this will help you, and come, let's do some Prakti-Bhavana, let's take you somewhere to enlighten your mind, and they're able to receive it, help them. But if they aren't, just be with them in compassion. And you can, you know why? Because you're not torn by the pain. If you're too emotional, you cannot help anyone, can you? Have you noticed when you get too angry, too emotional, too self-involved, you cannot help anyone. You cannot, most of all, you can't help yourself. Because your emotions are driving you crazy. How do you know your emotions are driving you crazy? You don't sleep well at night. You're all the time thinking about the same thing. That means you're still attached to the thought. All the time, the same thought, the same thought, the same thought. Keeps coming back again and again and again. Know that, okay, you're not so strong yet. Accept that. That is painful. You're not so strong yet. But that's where you are. Accept that. And know that with the practice, in time, Sri Patanjali tells you, be patient, practice for a long time without a break and with all your heart. Understand who you are. Practice. Ask yourself those questions. Who am I? Who am I? And with love. There's no God punishing you. There's no hell doomed for you. It's just the way it is. This is the law of this earth. Everything, you know, to everything there is a season. A time to be born. A time to die. A time to love. A time to hate. Isn't it? It's just everything there is a season. And when you understand that's the law of this universe, then the pain will not destroy you. Pain that is yet to come is avoidable. And it says here about, you know, understanding the gunas. What are the gunas? We study. All nature fluctuates around three energies. Rajas, which is the energy of movement, but expecting something in return. Expecting something in return. This is why we always recommend the path of karma yoga. Serve, expect nothing in return. When you give some charity, do not expect something in return. You give it, finish. Okay? And otherwise that will disturb you. I give you an example of our great master many years ago. He came to Gibraltar and you know, I managed to raise for him quite a lot of money. You know, did donations, all donations. We always did donations. But he got a lot of donations, you know, because he never asked. So I just told people, you know, just give donations. He does a lot of charity and da 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 da. And he's got this huge ashram where houses so many people because of him. One man. And he houses so many monks. And I mean, where did all the donations come in from? Him. But he didn't use it for himself. He gave it to all these people who came and lived in the ashram. So anyway, he was planning to build a school in India, which is already beautiful now, by the way. And so his secretary comes to me, you know, Nalanie, you've raised so much money for him. You know, we're going to Germany next, overnight. He's going to stay at the airport. And I know him. Doesn't like to take the charity money. Will you please tell him to take some money to have a nice meal in Germany for dinner? And so I said, oh, of course, friend, we will do that. Of course we will do that. So I go to him the next day, and he's just about to pack his stuff, and I go, Gurudev, you know, the money here, this is the money, this is how much we raised, and please take a little for your dinner, please. Take the envelope. You gave it to me? Take it back. No, Gurudev, I didn't choose from everybody's donation. Take it back. I don't want it. I did not come for this. If you give it to me, then you allow me to use it as I will. This, I promise God, goes to the school. Okay, no, Gurudev, please don't be angry with me. No, you're putting conditions on this. I don't want it. And so, okay, Gurudev, forget about it. Please don't be angry with me. You're leaving now. Don't be angry with me. So I just gave Prem a private donation. I said, no, you take him for dinner with this. Right? Another time, look at the difference. The same master. Gita was in London. She was showing him around. She had volunteered. He was going to be talking at Gaunt's house, and she had volunteered to pick him up from the airport. Was it with Richard? And anyway, that night they all went to an Indian restaurant, and I gave her an envelope. I said, give this to Gurudev for me, right? And he knows me. So anyway, I give it. They go to an Indian restaurant for dinner. I said, oh, Gurudev, by the way, Nalanie gave you this envelope. He opens it. It was only £100 in it that I'd given to him. And he goes, oh, look how perfect. It pays for dinner. Do you see? It pays for dinner. And so he was so easy and so free with not worrying about these things. You see, the lesson was for me. Controlling. Do you see? We give something and we think we control. Even though it was a good control, was still control. Now, a few years later, I'm in India with my mother and my sister. And my mom has this beautiful outfit. And I didn't bring many clothes, you know, I wasn't too bothered. I had a little suitcase. We had a dinner that night. You know, my father knows so many people in India, so suddenly we got an invitation. Oh, I don't know what to wear for this dinner. It's quite formal. I didn't bring many formal things. My mom takes out this beautiful suit. And she goes, Nalanie, I got this for you. You wear it, you know. It's a little small for me. It was a little big for me, but it looked lovely, so I wore this to Tom. So my sister comes. I bought that for Mom. I didn't know. I spent a lot on it. I'm happy to give it to you, Nalanie, but it's Mom's. I wanted Mom to wear it. So I said, you know, sis, I really understand. But please don't scold Mom. Please don't. And I told her the story of Gurudev. I told her that same story. And she looked at me and she said, oh my God, I didn't realize I was attached to it. I said the same way, I didn't realize that I was attached to me wanting Gurudev to use it for what I wanted him to use it for. You know, not what he had already said it was for the school, you know. So after that, she goes, everything she gives me, and you can give it away. And it doesn't matter, I'm giving it to you, but if you want to give it away, you give it away. And I go, oh, thank you, you know. And she does that all the time. She buys most of my whites for me. She's wonderful, my sister. You know, you give it away, you know. And she's like that with everybody now. But you see how we get like little attached. It's a good action, isn't it a good action? It's not that it's a bad action, but the moment you hold that giving away, I gave it to you thing, then you become a little upset, right? So this is the Rajas energy. the Rajas energy. So the next one is it's good deeds, bad deeds, but it causes still pain. So use karma yoga, service above self. This young lady is a very good example. Never expects anything. Serves because she loves people. We love people. It's exciting, right, Shanti? She really loves it. She's really loves it. So, and when you do it without expecting anything in return, there's a joy. Now, prior to this, 3 years ago, even 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, she still expected something in return. What did she expect? Not much. They should love me in return.
At least.
At least love me. I said, that don't even expect. Because then a few people that she expect, and isn't it interesting, the people that she was chasing for that love were really rude to her. And that's it. And I go, that's your lesson, you know what? Isn't it true?
True.
And she said, what should I do now? I said, stop chasing. Stop chasing. You're wonderful as you are. You don't need to chase anybody for love. So she listened. And actually, just a few days ago, she goes, hey, this person has written to me. Do you know, but that attachment, even that little attachment, was causing her so much pain. It was causing her, this person was so rude to me, it was causing her so much pain. Drop it. Don't do anything more. And she's a good girl, she's a good student, she learns, and then she gets that you see that even that pain is gone now. And she gets her rewards from everyone. Everybody loves her so much. And Gita and Nirvana, who knows her from before, will tell you that a lot of people used to run away when she used to come.
Not example, because when we chase
yeah.
something, we get more of that rejection. When,
Correct.
it's the people that you really want the love from that we then encounter because we're trying so hard.
Too hard.
That we push them away,
Yeah.
And whereas now you can tell it really comes from a genuine place, but the transition has happened to her
Yes.
with the practice.
Correct. You can see it.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Over time. And you can see, and people love her really from their heart. Because why? Now she loves everybody unconditionally, expecting nothing in return. She's become a yogi. But this is
She doesn't need anybody.
No, she's happy in
She's
herself.
strong in her own.
Yeah, where she was
essence.
always needy. Yeah. She was so needy. She was so needy. And now she's so happy in her world. She's so happy. She comes in, have you ever seen her happy? I haven't.
So now you're in front of us. We're now to teach that.
But by her practice, you see how hard she's practiced. So you can see where she's gained this. So that's the karma yoga practice, right? Serving others, and first you serve and but time you realize everything is painful. Everything is painful. So don't even expect love from anyone. If you get it, what a bonus! What a bonus! Because you don't expect. When you receive so much love, you feel so deeply humbled. The way you all treated me at the graduation, I was deeply humbled by that. And look what a lovely monkey I got. Do you know, I felt deeply, deeply, deeply humbled by all that love. Because really, I give the course because I love it. I think every human being in this world should have it. That's my real belief, and that's why this year I'm traveling again, which I said I wouldn't. I'd take a sabbatical, but I decided I couldn't. It's too exciting to give this to the world. A sabbatical will come one day when it's ready for it, And so it's that joy of seeing people grow in themselves, right? And the freedom is, I don't owe anybody anything, and nobody owes me anything. Everybody can be who they want with it. What will they do with the knowledge? It's up to them. It's nothing to do with me. If they use it, great, they'll be happy. If they don't use it, they'll suffer. I wish they'll use it so they'll be happy. That's the only thing. But if they don't use it, it's not up to me. It's up to them to make their lives rich. And then if they fall, they're very welcome to come back. It's no big deal. So happy. Everybody makes mistakes. So that no expectation, right, gives you freedom. Okay, then the next one is tamas. Tamas is the energy. Remember we were talking about rajas, tamas, and then sattva. Yeah. So now we go to tamas. Tamas is the energy of inertia, dullness, apathetic. Oh, life is so hard. There's a crisis. What's the point? What's the point of writing? I won't get a job anyway. Do you see self-sabotage there? Oh, I can't be bothered. I've done all I can. This is all tamas. Tamas, if it's rajas, when a person is tamasic, they should apply something rajas. Because it's better to expect something in return and do something than to do nothing and just be apathetic. That's the worst of all things for me. Buddha says the worst crime is laziness. And I'll tell you one thing. The people I have counseled in the last 20 years, the most sick ones are the ones who don't do much with their lives. They're the most sick mentally. They have so much stress in their mind over nothing because their minds are not busy. So they will find problems. They'll take problems from all the people they meet. So I go, you have so much time. Wow, aren't you lucky? Go and take a course. Not everybody wants to take a yoga course. So are you not interested in, what are you interested in? Art, music? Are you interested in anything? Do you like makeup? Do you like computers? Anything. Do you like sports? Oh, I don't like anything. I have people who tell me that. Then, and they will see that once they get a spark that they can add a little rajas to life, they will resist first. And you say yes because we're going through this with somebody at the moment. And so it was difficult to get him to even come to one class. And now we've succeeded. He's come to 4. And guess what? After the 4th class, he just smiled. Yeah, isn't it true? And he just smiled. I had a good day. After 8 months, he's had one good day because he's got rajas. He could get himself out of bed and come to the class, forced though he was. He did it. Do you know? And this is sometimes you work with people like that, and you can see how they are hurting themselves, but they can't see it. They really cannot see it. So for me, I pray a lot for these people because it's hard to get them out. I mean, not everybody's so bad. And this is but you get a lot of cases like this. I'm sure you will see Carol as well. A lot of people on antidepressants these days because, when they can't cope with life, take a pill. What they don't realize is if you start taking these antidepressants, it takes over you. It takes over you after a period of time. And they really can't get out of bed because it makes them, it's a muscle relaxant, right? Mind relaxant, mind changing drugs. So you no longer have your own strength to help you because it's drug induced. So the drug takes over. So the drug is using you, your body, and if I see it as it eating it up. I mean, in extreme cases, that's why there are these drugs. But nowadays, they're given out like sweeties.
It clouds the mind.
Yeah, I mean, in the old days, all families, my mother lost twins, and many people had miscarriages, lost children, many people, but they understood life. And they got on with it. Maybe they should have talked more and had more love in their life. I think, a lot of people suffered a lot unnecessarily, but that was more to do with counseling. But they didn't drug themselves. Because at least if you're angry, you're still working and doing things. But when you're tamasic, you're stuck. You are so stuck. And any of you know people who are stuck, you know what it's like. It's hard work, isn't it? When you're around somebody who's stuck, they're moody, they're bad, they're not very nice, they're always looking for faults in somebody else, and it's almost impossible to help them. They go into this deep depression and they blame everybody else for it. And then you will see in a tamasic state. Now you also have people who are very tamasic and lazy in yoga halls. They don't want to work. So they pretend to meditate, but they're thinking about all these other things. They're not really meditating, it's an escape. You find that too. You find this kind of energy everywhere. But in our lives, sometimes we are rajasic, and sometimes we have a little tamas. If you understand it, you just don't get involved. Some days don't you have a day where you just really want, I call it a pig out day, where you just want to do nothing, watch some nice DVDs, and you treat yourself. That's okay. You treat yourself to a treat. It's okay to have a lazy day, It's good to have a lazy day. So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when you have this current thing that keeps happening, and you find you're tamasic, go and do something rajasic. Get yourself going. Go to a class, sign up for something, take courses, whatever. Just get yourself going. Something to inspire you. And finally, we have the last day, which is called Sattvic day. This is what we all aspire to. That sense of peace. To be in that peaceful place. And you will notice when you're in sattva, when you're in that sattvic state, that everything takes on a different color, a different hue. You're more peaceful. Everything is much nicer. You can look at life as it is. So in all these practices that we do and these talks is to gear your mind into that sattvic state so that you can see life as it is and become the man of discrimination and know that pain that is yet to come is avoidable by the knowledge. But while you're going through the pain, it's okay. This too shall pass. This too shall pass, as everything does. We've had such rainy weather. We've had some sunshine. How much did everybody enjoy the sunshine yesterday and today? Huh? Why? If we had sunshine every day, it'd be some time to wish for some rain. So the elements, all these changes are in our life to play. To play. So one day it's rainy, oh great. One day it's sunny, great. And in ourselves, our own moods, if we can learn to watch our own moods, watch our own mind, and see, today my mind is a little bit rajasic. Is it causing harm to anyone? No. Some benefit to me? Am I expecting something in return? Yes? Okay, let me change that work into karma yoga. Do you see? Let me change it. Don't expect anything, but do those works. But don't expect. Then you change the rajas to sattva. So you're working, but you're working without expecting anything in return because it gives you peace. So are you understanding the play of nature? The weather has the same thing, the same fluctuations like we do. The same fluctuations. That's why the weather affects our moods. But if you are very well grounded in yoga, union with your peaceful self and sattvic, it won't affect your mood. Wow, it's a rainy day today. Oh, great day to get jobs at home done. Any writing that you need to do, any accounts you need to do, great day to sit in. And then you reward yourself at the end of the day when you've done all your chores to having fun. I've done all my chores, it's been great. You feel so happy. Instead of, I got to do my chores, the day is raining, I don't feel like doing anything, I just like watching movies today. Then you turn that day into a tamasic day, and then you finish the day and you go, I did nothing, I feel really horrible. That's when you don't deserve a lazy day, because you feel horrible about it at the end of the day. I wish I had done this, now tomorrow I'll double the work, and do you see? That's when it becomes. But when you know, then you use the day to your fullest and become most creative. That's why they say when you create, you become very close to God. Very close to God. Because then you create something in your day. You make a nothing day into a something day. And then you're always living with that energy. Always living with that energy. There's so many things one can do in a day. I don't understand how anybody could be bored. There's so much to learn about our world. So much to learn, so much to grow, so much to pray for, so much to laugh with, so many to cry with too. How can you ever be bored? And that's how you use your energy in the sattvic level. So I hope I answered your question. Oh, I thought there was more.
Yes, but it's more than that. automatically paid.
Okay.
You might recognise some of them.
Oh, this is a good one. I cannot manage. Oh, I shouldn't have taken so long with that one.
It's okay, it's okay.
I waste my time.
It's better you take 7 minutes on the
Okay, this will be shorter then. I cannot manage to still my mind in meditation. Too many thoughts. Any simple tips, please? Yes, I can give you a simple tip. If you're trying to meditate and there's so many thoughts going on in your mind, I would recommend that for the first few minutes, instead of closing your eyes, leave your eyes open in Tratak. Do you remember the practice of Tratak? Is looking
Gazing.
at one thing, gazing, with eyes open at something like the flame. And then you focus on the flame. And if you have a guru, the guru. If you love nature, look at the flower. But focus on the flower. For example, you see the flower, and then you'll say, "Hi, pretty flower. Thank you for offering yourself to me. Hi, pretty flower." And you look at the flower, and you just focus, and then you see the yellow, the white, and then you see how beautiful nature is, and then you look at the leaves. So your mind is focusing just on that one thing. This is a practice of concentration on one object, because you have to practice on concentration before you can go into meditation. So this is one of the hints. The other hint is you use something that is very spiritual, elevates your mind waves whenever the mind is literally, for me it's very easy to use my master, because all I see is light now. Over the years, before it was a figure, now it's the teaching and the light and the energy of goodness, of lovingness. And I focus on those thoughts of lovingness and goodness. At least, even if I'm not meditating, my thoughts are not going mad. Do you see what I'm saying? Otherwise it's going to all different places. And then you come out more irritated, you haven't meditated, and you're just getting upset with yourself. So fill your heart. For me, the loving the meditation was really important. So many times I used to use, in the earlier days when my granddaughter was born, she's 12 now, I used to use her a lot as an example in those days when she was born. The joy in having a grandchild, because a grandchild is so pure, so beautiful. It's a different feeling to having your own children, which I never thought would happen. Thought, but nothing could be better than having your own children. Wait till you have your grandchild. There's a different feeling. And it's really, because you grow out, you become more wise. So I always see her face, and then your heart fills with love. The gentle, sweet love. It's a sweetness, And fill your heart with that love. And once you feel that feeling of love, then stare at a candle or a rose or a flower, whatever you choose, and fill that thing in you with love. Fall in love with that flower. Fall in love with that image. And then that feeling will keep you focused, even for a minute. That minute will drag out in time. And then after a while you can close your eyes. And that's what I would recommend. And many other practices. Sometimes in the early days when my mind was like all over the place, what you do is you put on some nice music. Gentle music. Maybe just the Om. Even not too many mantras. We have the Om CD. We'll put it on later and we'll do a guided meditation on it. You put on the Om. The mind goes away, you bring it back to the Om. The mind goes away, you bring it back to the Om. It's so simple, it's just one word. It's not even have to remember my mantra anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's just Om. And then if you want, you sing out. That's why it's really nice. I love meditating on my own, And then you just say and then you feel the vibration going through your body, your throat, your mind, and then you're focusing on the vibration. Can you feel? Oh, I'm tuning my psyche. Then you're in the vibration, and before you know it, 5 minutes is gone, and oh my God, you meditated for 5 minutes on the Om. See, these are some of the tips I can give you. There are thousands of tips depending on your mood, on the day that you can use. You know, we say use the mantra that you've been given in initiation. Yes, use that all the time, as much as you can. As much as you can. Because over time, what will happen is when you're meditating, because you've repeated it so much, and the mind goes everywhere, the mantra will come and remind you, but happily remind you to come back to it. Happily. And if it doesn't, and you're getting frustrated, drop the practice for a while. Drop it for a while. Don't say, I have to use it, I have to use it, I have to use it. Poor mantra's going to get punished, and so are you. Drop it for a while. And the mantra will give you a lot of light, you know. Tim here was telling me he's been using the mantra. He was initiated about 3 months ago, right, Tim? Was it 3 months?
Yeah, December.
And been using it, and his entire life has changed. He gets lovely visions, develops sattvic nature. He's gone through a traumatic divorce over the last few years. May I say the story? Yeah. I know that Liam comes all the time to his son doesn't want to stay with the wife, wants to stay with him, and son's been battered, and he's just been protecting his son. And his son goes, I just want to be with my dad, he's so peaceful. And he had a huge battle, all with that calmness. They won the case, right? They've given him his freedom. Last week you told me.
Yeah.
He can be with the dad because of his peaceful countenance, his practice, his visions, the whole thing he could keep so calm. And of course, when the judge sees somebody like that, I'm not telling my son, I'm telling my son, see your mom, please see your mom. And he really is doing that with all his heart and soul. And then you see the benefits of the practice. Instead of the agitation when I met you, the pain, the suffering, that both of you and your son were going through, father heals, child heals. Both have healed. So,
Beautiful.
you really watch it, and you know why, but he's really practicing every day, with that love for the practice, with the love. Nothing, and didn't expect anything which are just desperate for that peace. Desperate for that peace. I want to know God, I want to know that peace, and if that is your focus, right, then all those other thoughts will go away. That was his focus, the peace, the peace, the peace, the peace, the peace. And then you see the result come. He didn't ask, not once did he say, I want the case to come back this way, I want my wife to behave like this, oh my poor son, he's so drunk. Not one time. Not once. No agitation. Just let me practice and get strong so I can be a good father. So I can be a good father. Non-selfishness, unselfishness. Again, we're taught to be unselfish. So the thought was to make his son's life as easy as possible, and as a result he got the gift. The gift came to him, the visions, the light, the peace. Thank you for allowing Tim your story. Because like that, then you get encouraged. Sometimes you have to go through so much pain as he had to. When I first met him, 1.5 years or 2 years, I don't even remember. So much pain before you want the light so badly. You mentioned that in one of your talks, Nirvana. You went through so much pain that I just want to see the light. So, and look last week how brilliantly she explained it. Masterfully. So I hope I've answered this question. These are some of the tips. Fill it with love. I've noticed that is the secret. Don't get agitated. Make it fun. And if you truly can't focus, do the puja. I taught you the little prayers, offer some petals and say, today this is my meditation. Instead of sitting down and staying quiet, I'm going to do a little prayer, offer some flowers to the earth and to nature, offer some. And by the time you finish that puja, it's going to take you 5 minutes and you feel so much better. So don't punish yourself with meditation. Love it. Do some walking meditation. Maybe now the weather is better. One of the weeks on Tuesday, we will do some walking meditation. It's wonderful. It really is so wonderful. You just walk quietly, following one each other and you just sing the mantra. And you're looking at the beautiful green and got the perfect garden for it. Okay, now this is this is the one I spoke about, which is a difficult one, but I will speak on it. How should one look at abortion? And this one is it's a tricky one. I can only tell you my feelings and what I went through, and somebody asked me this in Gibraltar as well. And I will tell you a story of my own life and what I learned about abortion. And if I've told you this story before, forgive me. It didn't come out till a few weeks ago, and I had to be very honest in my answer. There is a law, cause and effect, the law of karma. As you sow, you will reap. It's an indisputable law, right? And I will give you my story of how I learned about what I feel. For me, if you can avoid it, please, please, please avoid it, because you're taking a life. And somewhere there's going to be some consequences. You may not think so now, but as I have met many, many, many women who have had abortions and later on told me 20, 30 years later that it really affected them after their menopause. But you were fine for 30 years. So I learned a lot through my patients. Well, one of the things I will tell you is my story and why I feel the way I do. But please, no, I don't believe that there is a God that punishes. And I don't think anything is evil or bad. I think sometimes things get done because people are desperate and they're in pain and they don't know what else to do. When I was 16 or 17, a friend of a friend of a friend called me up, and I knew this friend from school. She was a few years older than me, and she got pregnant. Now in those days, there was no abortion, and I was very young anyway. They called me up for help. They needed some money because this girl was going to have an abortion. And even at that time, I remember thinking, I came from a Catholic school, you don't abort, you know. I got really scared. And then I found out the name of this girl, and she was a Catholic, and her father would have killed her if he had found out. So she thought. And you know, when you were 16 or 17, you do think, and I remember he was a strong character, and I met him, very, very frightened of him. You know, at 16 and 17, I go, he's going to kill her. I felt the same way, right? He's going to kill her. Why they called me, I had no clue at that time. So, you know, whatever money I had, I couldn't, you know, all these friends were meeting her, and everybody's crying, she's going to get killed, we have no money. I couldn't go to my bank account because my father would find out. He had kept all my bank papers. I never took money out without asking him. So whatever savings I had, you know, just in my home from my Chinese New Year money, and we have Kharchis and Indian ceremonies, and I kept it home for emergency. I just took it all out and gave it to her. Then suddenly she found this place that she's going to do the abortion. I didn't want to know. None of her friends are going with her. She's going to go alone. So she calls me up. I don't believe this. Why did you call me? You know, I don't even know you that well. And she calls me up. And of course she's going alone, and I go, oh my God, you can't go alone. What if you bleed? Because you know, you're not dumb at 16 and 17. You know, we read books and we read things, and we didn't have internet in those days. What if something happens to you? What if they kill you? Because it's illegal. It was illegal, right? I went with her, and went to this horrible place with gates closed, and I said, please, let's leave. This is horrible. Please, let's leave. No, I have to do it. 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 You don't understand. My father's going to kill me. So I knew whether I went with her or not, she's going to do it. So I went in this horrible place. It was horrible. The energy was horrible. And I was crying because I didn't know what I was doing there. Anyway, she went into the room, and suddenly they call me, the doctors call me. And said to me, come, 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 she's screaming in pain. She's calling for you. She's screaming in pain. So I go in, I go, oh my God, why have you called me to do this? I'm praying. And during that time I used to do lots of Our Fathers and Hail Marys, because I was from, even though we didn't do, I was from a Catholic school. Our Father Martin, praying, 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 held her hand, and they didn't use any anesthetic, and she was screaming, and well, God, you put me in this situation, you really helped me with this. And all of a sudden this doctor goes, this fetus about this size, she was 3.5 months gone, and I could see the fetus, and she goes, can you see the baby? Oh, I went sick. I was so sick, but I couldn't show restraint. Yoga, I had to learn. I was only 16 or 17 myself. She was bleeding, she was weak, and I had to take her home. And then they told me, if she bleeds, don't call us. They've given us all fake numbers and everything. Okay, and if you come to this place, in front is a sewing machine shop, we will kill you. Oh my God! And you're 16, you really think, why have I got myself into it? Right? So anyway, I took her home, and I looked after her the whole night, praying the whole night. I sat up. She was always zoned because she was in so much pain. But I remember thinking the whole night, oh my God, I just saw murder. Oh my God, I just witnessed the murder. I remember that very, very strong feeling, so strong, that many years later, I know she was well and everything turned out well, I was pregnant with my son, my second child, and the 3rd month I had a severe asthmatic attack, severe. My gynecologist wasn't there. I couldn't breathe, so what did they do? They put everything on me, about 15 injections, a drip of steroids, which is the worst thing for the baby, right? The worst thing. And Valium, just to keep me alive. And anyway, I lived through it, thanks to my husband, because he gave me an empty oxygen tank. It's another long story. So, and he realized something was wrong, and he snapped it up and he said, you tried to breathe into it. And I said, why are all these injections and these drips not working? And he said, there's something wrong, I know. Anyway, he saved my life. So when my gynecologist saw me the next day, he said, you have to abort. I said, no. He said, your child, do you know how much medication they have given you? Do you know how much medication they've given you? You will not have a normal child. You should abort. I said, no. Because why? I said, I will not take a life. Because of that experience when I was 17. That experience came to me, and no. He said, that's an old-fashioned point of view. And I said, no, even if my child has got no fingers or toes, that is going to be my child. I will take the responsibility. I will have my child. And my daughter scolded the doctor so much. Why did you tell her? You know her nature is such, she will not hurt anything. Why would you tell her something like that? He was really angry. He said, you should have told me first, and then I would have told you. Anyway, so I had my son, and perfectly normal. Can you imagine if I had aborted? And he told me definitely. Those days we didn't have tests like you have today, right? And anyway, if they did, I would have said no to it. I would have said no to it, because I was not going to abort. So what I have learned in my own life, when people ask me about abortion, it's a heavy-duty question, as you can see, but just to show you that for me, a life is a life is a life. And as much as you can, there is cause and effect. And there are exceptions and there are cases. People will say, oh, but this one was raped by that one. And I understand all that. I really understand all that. But I'm just telling you that there is action, reaction. It's just the law. If it's not a physical reaction, it's an emotional reaction. But there's some kind of reaction. So on those bases, I will always say, don't take a life. But I will not judge anybody who's in extreme cases, because I saw what happened to my friend. I think that if she didn't abort, she would have killed herself. In fact, I know she would have done that. She said, it's better to kill myself it's better than to face my father. Because for her, that situation was really real. You know, I can't tell you much about her because after that, I don't know what's happened to her life. I know I met her many years later, and she had 2 children, only for a little while in the street somewhere. But it was so long, and the pain of those days was so great. You just don't even want to talk about anything, And I think she wanted to forget that too. Out of her life, she didn't want to remember. You don't want to remember something like that. So my view on abortion is, please try not to take a life. And if you have to have the child, have the child. You don't really want the child, give it up for adoption. Many people who do want children, and they will be very glad to have your child. But also it teaches one not to be promiscuous. Don't be promiscuous. Be careful. Be wise. And I tell young people today, please be wise. Don't be promiscuous. Look what can happen. It's not that easy now. You say, oh, I'll just have an abortion. You're going to feel it many years later. I can't believe there's many women, not one, that have told me they've had abortions and maybe they've had 2 or 3 children, they don't want the 4th one, and they've done it without any trauma at that time. But then 20 years later they go, why am I crying over the child now? Why am I so angry with myself? Interesting, huh? That's really happened to so many people. And so it's cause and effect. Somewhere down the line, it's deep in there, it's repressed, it has to come out. So that's all I say. Be careful, and that would be my view on abortion. As much as you can, don't do it. But I don't believe in any punishment. I think the punishment is within oneself. I think the person is enough, to live with. I don't think you need any more than that. So you live with it. And my advice to people, or these women who have seen me, who have aborted, I tell them, no point to stick with the guilt. What you do is you sponsor a child in a poor country, or sponsor 2 or 3, depending on your capability, and start to do good. So your good actions become more than the negative. Rather than feeling like this and wanting to punish yourself, please don't do that. No point. I don't see the point. My personal view, I don't see the point. Do something good. Go sponsor children, go adopt a child, or whatever. And they have done it. And I have seen that after they do it, they're really happy. There's like a peace within them. And then also sometimes we do a little ceremony or prayer ceremony for that child that's been aborted. And just in my office, just 2 of us, and we do a little prayer, and the mother asks for forgiveness, and said, she didn't know better, she was young, or whatever, to please forgive her. So there is also closure for her as well. So this is what we do to alleviate the situation. So my question is, my answer to that question is, please try not to take any life unnecessarily. Yes. That's a tough one for me.
Can I tell a story about that also?
Please.
Because when I got married, I was wishing to have children very, very soon, very quickly. So then I had lots of problems within my stomach, and I took some tests, X-ray, a lot of them in my colon and on my sides. And 1 month later, it was that I was pregnant, and I didn't know it. So then they took all these X-rays, and they told me, oh my God, they were trying to find out how much radiation I had in my body. And they told me it was very, very big. And then the doctor, I was in Norway living by the time, she told me, oh my God, you have to take abortion because this is very strong and your baby probably will be completely crossed. And it's before the 3 first months. So the brain is completely affected. It will be just so retarded that it will be a mess. And then I was thinking, what shall I do? And my husband was telling me, you just take abortion. We're not having a child that is retarded and anything. And I said, oh my God, it was so hard. 2 weeks I didn't sleep at all. It was in 2 weeks.
Hard. It's really hard.
It's very hard. And at that time I thought,
nobody can tell you what to do. My parents were telling me, oh, maybe you should take abortion, and they are very Catholic, but you know, it's a big responsibility to have a child that is retarded and really bad. And then, after 2 weeks, I just thought, okay, my husband probably will just divorce me, and we were just married because he could not accept such things. And he's very, like, he needs perfect human beings. He didn't want children even. So if he gets a retarded one, I would just lose him. I was madly in love with him. And then I thought, okay, God, you wanted me to get me in this situation. For the first time in life after many years, I just told God, I will get this child, whatever you bring me, it is you that decided me to have this. And I'm not taking the responsibility and the reaction of that abortion if I take it. I will just... So then I went ahead, and my oldest daughter now, she's brilliant and perfect and fully sane. But I read a lot, and it could be a completely mess.
It could have been, absolutely. There are many cases like that, yes.
Just to be aware of the reaction when you say the karma, the low karma, you take a decision, and maybe I have lost my husband, I have to take charge of the baby that is really maybe dying before, you know, before 16 or something horrible like that. And I took the chance, but it's so difficult to answer this question on behalf of someone else.
Yes.
Because you don't know the circumstances of anyone, and just
exactly. But you know the consequences and what happened that you took that.
But I was very strong. My husband was pushing me, everybody, many people pushing me, and I took the strong, like, I am the one to have this decision taken. Nobody can take this decision for me.
Good for you. Good for you. And this is why it's so important to be strong.
Yeah.
Courage is really, really important on this path. It really is. So thank you. That is
the faith of life.
yeah, a test of
strength.
yeah, a test of surrender. I mean, both of us got bonuses,
Yeah.
but both of us were willing to surrender and say, we have a
We'll
take whatever comes. You know, thy will be done. Basically, thy will be done. Thy will be done. It's happened. Accept it.
I was sent an email several years ago now. You may all these emails do the rounds, don't they, over the years? And it read something like, if you already had 12 children, 2 were blind, 1 was deaf, 1 was severely handicapped, and you found out you were pregnant again, would you abort? And of course everybody was going, well, God, yes, of course, of course, of course. And as you read down to the end, it said, you had just aborted Beethoven.
Yes, I got that one. Yes, yeah. Beethoven was blind, and look at the music he produced.
Yes.
Quite incredible, genius. Who else is blind? Andrea Bocelli. Yeah. Stevie Wonder. And look at the music they produced. Yeah, I love Andrea Bocelli. Bocelli's music is brilliant. You know, so you just absolutely, we just don't know. So obviously, you know, that question is you have to be very delicate with it, because many women have aborted because they've been in very terrible circumstances. And the last thing you want to do is, you're wrong, you're doomed to hell. No, no, no. There is reaction. I think they suffer enough, so no point rubbing it in. Be kind. But, you know, if I had to advise anybody, I would say don't. Don't. Please don't abort.
One of the biggest things in my, sorry to talk again, guys.
No, please, please.
One of the biggest things in my life was to experience pregnancy and the raising of a child. And it was like my main ambition, you know. And when I fell pregnant with my first child, I didn't lose the baby. And I was almost 4 months. And it really, really saddened me. But I thought, this has obviously happened for a reason. I've got to deal with this. I thought, God, I'm going to be one of those mad women that steals someone's baby outside the shop window. And she said, well, I can't. This is what I've got to deal with this in life. Maybe I can never carry children. And I'm going to go work in orphanages and put myself forward for just work with babies. I've got to be with children and babies. And a year later, I lost the baby in the August. The following August, I fell pregnant again. And I remember going to, I was actually living in Holland at the time after I lost the baby, and I went to, I just came across this little chapel, and it's very Catholic, and there was a figure of Mary in there, and there were just two little pews either side. It was just off the side of this really pretty square with all cafes and parasols outside. And I went in there every day and I lit a candle for this baby that I'd lost. And I just, please God, send that back. I mean, I knew the date the baby was due, everything I'd been for my first scan and everything, you know. And when that day came, I was really, I actually went, I've got to give him a puppy dog on that day. So it helped. But I remember going every day, I would not miss a day when I'd go and light a candle for that baby. And there was a lovely prayer on the wall, and I said it every day, I just prayed for this Mary and Jesus, and please, I don't care when you send me that baby back. I don't care when, just send that baby back to me. Please, God, like it, my life hung on it, you know. And as I said, the following August I fell pregnant. Because I'd lost the baby in the August, I thought, oh, I've got the baby back. Is my baby back? My baby's actually back. And so then I could rest, and you know, I've got a beautiful baby girl, and she's nearly 24 now. And I then got divorced, and I was on my own. And then I did 7 months later, I met somebody else, and we were engaged to be married, but I fell pregnant, not planned. And I thought, oh gosh, you know, I never thought I'd be. I actually felt quite trapped, and I didn't know whether I was going to be. I've got to marry him now because I've got a baby on the way. And I suddenly felt really trapped. And I thought, well, what am I going to do if I'm, you know, this baby's been sent to me now, and I've got to go through this, you know. So I went to the doctor to get the date of the baby. The baby's going to be due, and it was this one, and she was this baby, and she was born on the very date my first baby was due.
Oh.
And I said, I don't care when you sent the baby back. But I really firmly believe that she was.
This is the one. Yeah. This is the one.
Meant to be. And I didn't marry her daddy, but we're still very, very good friends today.
Yeah. That's great. That's great.
Wow.